Once a contract is signed, let's talk about the legal effects of that contract. There are 4 ways we have of classifying these contracts. One is a valid and enforceable contract. That simply means it has all the essential elements of a contract and it's in writing, which makes it enforceable. That's what we want all the time. A second way we can classify a contract is a void contract, which means it has no legal effect whatsoever. A couple of examples of a void contract would be a contract for an illegal activity or someone who signs a contract who is not of sound mind. Those contracts would be classified as void and have no legal effect whatsoever. A third type is called a voidable contract, which means we have most all of the essential elements of a contract, but something is not quite right. What makes it not quite right makes it capable of becoming void. Some examples would be a contract signed by a minor. A minor is not of legal age, so if a minor signs a contract, the minor can void the contract up until the minor becomes of legal age. Once a person becomes of legal age, the person must then make up their mind whether to ratify and accept the contract or to void out the agreement. Another example of a voidable contract is someone who signs a contract who is intoxicated. That would be a voidable contract. Another type would be misrepresentation. There are 2 types of misrepresentation that would be considered voidable contracts. One is called innocent misrepresentation. That's a situation where a licensee fails to disclose something that was in the multiple listing service information, for example, and just overlooked it. Another type of misrepresentation is called fraudulent misrepresentation. Fraudulent misrepresentation is when a licensee flat out lies simply to close on a transaction and to make some money. Either one of these types of misrepresentation, however, would be a voidable contract. So, for example, if a seller told a buyer that the property was zoned commercial, and after closing the buyer found out that it was actually zoned residential, that the seller had lied, then the buyer would be able to go back and try to void out the agreement due to the misrepresentation. The only one that can void out the agreement in these voidable contracts is the injured party. The injured party is always the minor or the person who was intoxicated or the person who was misrepresented. A fourth area we have is called an unenforceable contract, which will be like an oral contract for real estate. The statute of frauds once again says that contracts for real estate, if you want to enforce them, must be in writing.